This segment is sponsored by Active Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture.
Welcome back to NTV's Good Life. I'm at Active Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture with Dr. Scott Rief. Good morning.
Good morning.
We're talking about something that affects my family when we're talking neuropathy. First of all, for those that may not know, what is neuropathy and what causes it?
Yeah, so a lot of time what neuropathy is you actually start to lose blood flow to certain nerves.
Okay.
And so what happens when you lose that blood flow is you start to lose sensitivity. You can't feel hot or cold or certain types of touch in your hands or your feet.
Okay.
And it can get to a point where it's very difficult to walk. And then there's fall factors and this changes their life. And if you have a loved one that has this, you've probably witnessed this, how it changes their life.
So what can you do for those that may be suffering from neuropathy?
Yes, let's talk about that, because right now, what do? You go to the medical doctor, they give you gabapentin, they give you something to cover up the symptom, but they actually don't get to the root of the problem. And so what we're gonna do, we're gonna get to the root of the problem. And one of the toughest things that happens is some of this technology has been around, but you have to go into their clinic to get the technology. So if I'm gonna fix somebody's neuropathy, you have to go in a lot. And so someone with neuropathy, they're like, I don't wanna go into the office like 5 times a week or 3 times a week. I just wanna do it in the comfort of my own home. Otherwise, you're not gonna achieve the results that you want. So that's why I love this program. We're actually gonna sell the patient the medical device so they can do it 7 days a week and you can get the results that they deserve.
Really?
So
doing the treatment more often is better then?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
That's the key, is that repetition and consistency of it. So if someone has neuropathy, they need to do this treatment 7 days a week. And there's no way they're gonna go into a clinic to do that.
Exactly.
So what are we gonna do? Well, the first thing we need to do is you have nerves here. So this is a very healthy nerve. You have blood vessels around it, this nerve is firing and it's happy, but then over time you start to get less blood vessels. And that nerve's not firing, it's not communicating to the brain. You start to have numbness in your feet, or you don't have the ability to feel hot and cold. And then eventually it starts to die off. So sadly, a lot of my patients that come in, they have severe nerve damage.
Now, does that happen right away, or is that over years of time, or do they feel it coming on?
So we're all human, right?
Yep.
So one of the greatest things about the human body is it adapts. What's the worst thing about the human body?
Yeah, that
it adapts, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So people don't do anything until they notice it, and it's so severe that there's nothing they can really do at that point in time. And I've had people go to Mayo, and they're like, oh, we don't have anything for you. This works. We have a 95% success rate with this.
So you can go from this to that.
Yeah, and you might be like, well, how long? How long does it take? If you have severe damage, we have the ability to restore that nerve function. However, it's gonna take 12 to 18 months.
Okay, gotta be a little patient.
You gotta be patient. So how do we do this?
Yeah.
Well, the first thing we do, we're gonna recommend some supplements to increase blood flow.
Okay.
Because we gotta create a healthy environment for these blood vessels to regenerate and grow. So now you're like, well, how am I gonna regenerate these blood vessels? Because they've never really had this technology before. Have you heard of red light therapy or
actually.
anodyne?
I've heard of red light therapy.
It's a big thing because of the results we're getting now.
Okay.
So we're gonna personally figure out what type of anodyne or red light that you need and what wavelength you need. And you're gonna start utilizing this at home. And so for 30 minutes on one foot and 30 minutes on the other foot, we're gonna start regrowing these blood vessels, okay?
Okay.
But we can regrow these blood vessels, but eventually we gotta recalibrate the nerve, right? We gotta get that nerve communicating to the body and to the brain again. So then we're gonna take a rebuilder.
Okay.
And by doing this rebuilder, we're gonna recalibrate that nerve. And by over time of growing the blood vessels back and recalibrating the nerve, we can get the feeling back and start regrowing these nerves, and they can start refiring. It takes time.
I didn't know you could. This is amazing, because I thought once you got neuropathy, you couldn't reverse it.
Yeah, because in the past, all these tests, like PT's been doing this, medical
Mhm.
doctors, but they have you just come in 3 times a week and you
Yeah.
got to come into their office. You're never going to get results just 3 times a week. You
No.
got to do this every day. And if you have a severe, you got to do it every day for a year to 18 months.
Wow.
And then we start seeing results.
Wow. So it works just as good on the hand because neuropathy in the feet is what my husband's family suffers from, but in the hands as well then.
Yes, it does. Yep, same theory. We're just rebuilding those blood vessels in your hands, and then we got to recalibrate those nerves, and then we got to make sure supplement wise you're on the right
Mhm.
supplements to make this whole process work. But the other thing is, if you have chronic inflammation in your
Mhm.
body, we got to get that under control.
Okay.
So we may talk to you about gut health
Okay.
and get your gut health under control, because we can regrow these nerves and blood vessels and get everything firing like it is again. But if you have chronic inflammation, that can interfere with your healing process. So that's another thing we may need to talk to individuals about.
So the first step is just to make the appointment and just sit down with one of you guys here at Active Family.
Yeah, and it'll take a little bit
Mhm.
because probably the first visit's going to take at least an hour. We're going to educate you, figure out what's
Mhm.
going on. We're going to do a neuropathy exam to categorize, hey, do you have mild, moderate, severe? Can we help you? Once we figure it out that we can help you and you qualify for this program, then we're going to come up with a custom plan for you.
Wonderful. And is that at all your locations?
Yep, so it is at all of our locations. So Grand Island, Hastings, Kearney, Columbus. We can help you with neuropathy. We're getting great results. Call our office, Google us, and make an appointment today. We'd love to help you.
Yeah, your phones are going to be ringing off the hook. Thanks, Doc. I appreciate it.
Yes,
And
you're
we're going
welcome.
to share all their information on our website at nebraska.tv. We're coming back with more friends right after this. Don't go anywhere.